So I've got 5 things that you need to know about using DNS with AWS. I don't know why, but I really like saying that DNS with AWS. Anyways, I know that I've created a few other videos about DNS, but AWS uses an app called Route 53. And you maybe wonder what AWS stands for. It's Amazon Web Services. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Route 53 in AWS to manage our DNS records. One of the biggest reasons that you're going to use Route 53 to manage your DNS records is to be able to script your DNS records. In fact, one of my favorite projects I've ever worked on was using Certbot and Route 53 to script a deployment of over 100 certs at one time with just a click of a button. Well, like one line of code, Ansible playbook, stuff like that. But anyways, let's hop into how we set up Route 53 to manage our DNS. All right, as we jump in, my name is Josiah and I'm a consultant at Next Tech Consultants. We work hard to take the stress out of technology so you can really focus on your business. Should you have any questions in this video or any other videos that we've created, you can reach out to us at support@nexttechconsultants.com. You can also find us on all the social media platforms at NextTechNT. So let's hop over to AWS and I'll walk you through a few things that you need to know. All right, so number 1, the thing that you need to know about Route 53 is that you're going to need to create a hosted zone. So in your AWS console, which is console.aws.amazon.com, you need to click up on services because it's not going to be probably listed in your recently visited. Click on services and find it in the list. You could also just search up here for Route 53 and you'll see it come up right here. So go ahead and click into hosted zone. And you're going to type in your domain name. This is the domain name that you've purchased from either GoDaddy, Network Solutions, something like that. So you're going to put that in there and we're going to go nexttech.com. And you can give it a description if you want. You're going to choose a public hosted zone. This is a public one that is available for everybody else. Private's going to be for internal AWS stuff. That's a whole different story in itself. We're going to ignore that. Choose public hosted zone. If you want to tag it, go ahead and add some tags here. Tags are good for billing in the future if you ever need that. But again, we're going to go ahead and create our hosted zone and you'll see it comes up here. What's really important are these NS servers. NS servers are name servers. And if you need to know more about DNS records, I have a whole video on that, on what they are. And you can see that in the link in the description below. So you just need to know that these name servers are what you need to put in GoDaddy or Network Solutions. So for example, in GoDaddy, to change your name servers, you find your domain, you go to the DNS manager, and you're going to click on name servers. There, you're going to click change name servers. And then you want to make sure that you put in all 4 of these name servers in that spot. And then the world will know to look here for your names, for your DNS records. Item number 2. Unlike GoDaddy or Network Solutions, when adding multiple MX records, you want to add them at the same entry, but separated by line breaks. This also works when you're adding any other records. For example, like an A record for WP Engine needs 2 IP addresses. So you'll go ahead and add that as 2 IP addresses on 2 lines. So for example, if we're doing an MX record, you go ahead and choose your MX records. You need to keep it blank to create a record for the root domain. In GoDaddy, sometimes they want an @ For this example, for MX records in your root domain, which just means like nexttech.com, then you're going to put in a priority and your record. So aspmx.google.com is number 1. And then 5, it's like a secondary one would be aspmx.alt1.google.com. And these may not be the exact records that you use for Google, but that's the example. You create a line break for however many you need. So if we were going to do another one, you just have that line break in there and you go ahead and put it in. Priorities are a funny thing where you can have multiple of the same priority, but it looks from top down in terms of priority, and any email provider will give you what you need to put in here. So you separate them by line break. That's item number 2 when you're creating multiple entries for one single record. But now you can see here, we have 3 MX records for nexttech.com. All right, now item number 3, the maximum length of a text field is only 255 characters. This is what recently became an issue for me as I was trying to set up DKIM records for my Google domain. Now, obviously, when you're trying to set it up, you can only have 255 characters. When you have a 2048 key bit length, it's not going to work. So what you have to do is you have to separate them. You have the first part of it around quotes, a single space, and then the second part has quotes around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Google and I'm going to show you how to get your record and put it in properly. So in Google, we're going to go ahead and generate a new record. And you see here a 2048 DKIM key bit length, Google, and we generate. All right, now that it's shown up, we're going to copy our text record value. This is for the subdomain. So the host name is the subdomain in our DNS record. So go ahead and create a record. And for this, it's going to be a text record. Paste your subdomain in here. Grab your entire key length, copy and paste that in here. Now, you notice this is very long. It is more than 255 characters. So what we're going to do, we're going to put, and this is important, a double quote. We're going to pick somewhere in the middle. We're going to put a double quote, space, double quote, and then go to the very end and put another double quote. It's important that you do a space here. You do see it auto line broke for me, but it's important that you have a space, not an enter. An enter will break it because then it thinks it's another entry. So all you're doing is a space. And since it's this record, it just went ahead and brought it to a new line. I did not press enter. This is a space right here. That's a space. And that's how you do it. So then you're going ahead and create record. And then back in Google, what you would do is you would start authentication and that would get your DKIM record going. So remember, double quotes, space, double quotes around the entry. And that's how you set up a longer text entry. All right, so item number 4, you can add a named item to your root domain for your DNS record. Now, what I mean by this is a lot of times in a record, you can only add an IPv4 address. What's really cool in Route 53 is that you can actually point it to a load balancer. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a record and we're going to choose a record. You notice that it's normally, you can only point to an IPv4 address. So we're going to switch it over to an alias and you're going to choose an endpoint. We have a load balancer that then points to our multiple web servers. So I can't say I want the IP address of this one web server because it's actually, I want it to go to a load balancer that is a named item, and that will cover like 6 web servers for people to be able to access, and it load balances the traffic. So this is really nice. You can go ahead and say, hey, I want to go to an application or classic load balancer. You're going to choose your region that you created it in. And we're in Oregon. So we're in US West Oregon, and I'm going to choose my load balancer, dual stack Nexttech website, create a record. And now it's pointed to that as an alias. And like I said, it's really cool because now we're load balanced. We're not limited to one IPv4 address, and we're able to carry that traffic and disperse it out depending on the load that's coming in. All right. So item number 5, and the last thing we're going to talk about is formatting your DNS record in AWS. I got it off one more time. There we go. So we're going to create a record. Now you'll see here, they put in an example here. A record is just an IPv4 address. The ones we're going to talk about mainly is MX records, which it goes in, you say your priority of the MX record, and then the mail server host name, just like we talked about earlier, aspmx.google.com. And what's really nice is anytime there's special formatting, it shows it right here. And it shows you, hey, this is the priority. This is the email server host name. All right. So another one we're going to talk about that's unique is SRV records. SRV records are when you're setting up like the notification of Microsoft that says, hey, how do I know if somebody's online and ready to chat or their status? There's ways that external people can see like, oh, this person's available or not. If you have it set up properly, you would have set up an SRV record. An SRV record has to go in this order. So it's always different. GoDaddy breaks it out into multiple locations. This is all on one line. So you put in the priority, the weight, the port, in the server host name. So for example, in this example here, it's saying, hey, priority 1, wait 10, port is 5269, or sometimes it'll be like 443 or 25 or whatever port that it needs. Your person that needs you to put it in will be telling you what to do. And then the domain name or server host name that you're putting it in. And if you have more questions about what are the SRV records or MX records or CNAME records, I do have a video that goes over all of the DNS records, what they do, and how you can use them in your business. That will be in the link in the description below. So that was the 5 things that you need to know about using DNS with AWS. I appreciate you watching the video. And since you're still here, obviously you liked it. The content was at least helpful in some way to you. So go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help us create more content like this to help support your business. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.